Hello everyone, this is Shane. I want to take a few minutes of your time and discuss the view frames that we're using to mark out our page boundaries in model space. And first we're just going to go ahead and start inserting one from the menu, and that's going to put it on the correct layer there. And I want to explain that this pink X here is the maximum space that we can see on paper space. The yellow frame is really what we're editing and showing in model space. That's our viewport boundaries. So when we make these yellow frames, we'll see that we're snapping one to the end line there, and then we're going to go to the other side of the yellow line, and we're going to snap that to another 25-foot increment. And you'll notice that the pink X stayed the same because that's, like I said, the maximum extent of paper space. We can't go outside of that. However, everything inside of that is fair game. And I just want to lay a few frames out here so we can get to the end of the road and do a diagonal cut in one of the frames. There are 8 editable grip points on this view frame, so you should be able to manipulate it into pretty much any shape you'll need. And here we are at this end piece, and the green line is kind of a goal for the cut, so we're going to get as close to that as possible, and remembering that we need a little space at the southern end for our station text. And like I said, you can grab these vertexes here and manipulate them to create your diagonal cut. Next, we're going to work with setting the viewport frame ID. And we're going to go ahead and click the set viewport frame ID, and we're just going to keep issuing that. And we'll repeat 02, 03, 04. However, we're going to want to go ahead and set our numbering up to be sequential to the next frame from our left, 244. So we're going to change this number here to 245, and we're going to rerun the command set viewport frame ID and click the frame, and there it is, 245, 246, 247, 248. Next is verifying the viewports. If the viewport tools don't work, if you just click this will put the blocks on the correct layer and get everything set up for them to work correctly. And moving on from that, we will start looking into the view frame. So we're going to just jump over to the examples area right fast. And just using this as a point to jump off from, we're going to look at a plan page. Then we're going to go back to page 245. So we just put in P for plan, or S for schematic, and the frame number that we've given it. And you can see that it works from paper space also. So we'll just do the same thing and switch to 248 that we're looking at on paper space. We're going to switch to model space looking at that guy. And then using view frame return, we're going to go right back to the last tab that we were on before coming down to model space. So that'll be a quick way to jump back and forth while you design. And now we're going to do view frame in the viewport. And we're going to activate the viewport and then tell it that we want to look at the frame 245. And unfortunately it's caught in the middle of an autosave or something right now. But we'll tell it frame 245. It's going to look over at 245, set the scale correctly, and then we can move around the viewport boundaries to match what we've put out in the model space. And like I say, we can just use this for any page. We're just going to kind of set up this page that has a corner cut of it. And basically we're just going to modify this viewport frame here just by selecting it and grabbing that. I'm going to put that perpendicular or an endpoint to the boundary that we've put down in the model space. Snap that to the endpoint there, and somewhere out in there I think there's an endpoint 2 that I'm going to try to snap to. So move these out of the way, and maybe those won't be the final design position, but just so we can play with our viewports here. I'm going to drag this over here and align it to the cut that we just made, and the line needs to be on the bottom, so I'll flip that down and work with moving this over to an appropriate position. Turning object snap off might help that a little bit. And just gonna show a little bit more of this page. Try to cut across the right-of-way line as close as possible to that. And now we're going to get rid of some of the clutter on screen using the menu here to turn off a few of the layers. And just quickly, we're going to look at just playing with the view frame here, stretching its vertexes and just seeing that just about any shape you need can be made. But next we're going to see one more use of the set VP as ViewFrame ID tool. Here on the index we have these same blocks that are going to match our sheets. So likewise, you'll just be able to use the tool and just go through and select them as needed. Also, the text can be moved around by grip points. You'll see the circular one on top rotates it, and the little frames can be stretched to match our viewport frames that we lay out in model space also. And that is it for the layouts. Let me know if there's any questions.